Hello, I'm Becky Dowd, and this is The Journey to Salvation. Join me as we walk alongside real people and hear the unique journeys that led them to faith in Jesus. Today in the studio, we have Allysa Andrews. Allysa, welcome to The Journey to Salvation.
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. Hey, listen, could you just give us a little bit of information about your life growing up?
I grew up in church, thanks to my aunt and uncle. I'd done pageants my whole entire life, up until I was about 12, 11, something like that. Grew up doing pageants, absolutely loved them. We traveled all over. It really pulled us out of church. And one Sunday we woke up and decided we were going to go out to the cowboy church, and we fell in love with it. And so I've been in church pretty much my whole entire life. I didn't really have the chance to get into anything. I didn't really live the whole high school experience. I was in church all the time. A key part of that is it was my aunt and uncle that brought me every Sunday, every Wednesday. At the time, my mom really didn't go. My grandparents really didn't go. And so they took it on themselves. My uncle had been raised in church his entire life. And so it was very important to him and his family that he also brings his family up into church and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So what was it like growing up? You have several siblings, right?
I do. I have two full brothers, Buddy and Dylan. And then my dad had two kids, Dawson and Xander. And then my mom had another kid, Ian. And then she got married about 4 years ago, and he's got 4 kids. So it's a full house all the time.
Yeah. That's exciting. Can be exciting for a little while.
Yeah.
So what kind of challenges did you have growing up as a young person?
It started, my dad was incarcerated on March 31st, 2011. And growing up, I've always grown up in a split household where I was going to my dad's side of the family every other weekend. I was staying with my mom during the week and every other weekend. My aunt and uncle have raised me for the majority of my life. When I wasn't at my dad's on the weekends, I was with them. A very absent father, unfortunately.
How old were you when he went to prison?
I was 2011, so I would have been almost 8.
Oh, wow.
So I have grown up all these years without 14 years, yeah. 14 years without a father in my life. And that was definitely hard because, it wasn't hard, growing up before I, started going to sleepovers and started all that stuff because I just thought it was normal. I didn't realize, people didn't live with their grandparents and people didn't, their moms just, took care of them and their aunt and uncle was just, second parents to them. I thought that was completely normal until I started going over to, my friends' houses and they had their own rooms and they had a mom and dad. And, that's when it really hit me. I can remember, in the 5th grade, I was going to the counselor every day because something around the same time every day was just triggering all of these really big emotions that at the time I had no idea how to handle.
So you have not seen your dad. I guess you have visited him in prison.
I actually haven't visited him since probably 2015. At some point in time, or I'd broken my leg in 2016, and I tried to go visit him when he was still in Memphis, but they wouldn't let me in because I have metal in my leg. And even with a doctor's note, they still wouldn't let me in. And so he's been a little bit too far ever since then, where it's just kind of hard being in college. And then I was also an honor student in high school. I couldn't just really get away.
Yeah. So how was it for you growing up during your high school years? Were you doing pageants at that time?
No, I was really big into horses. I started riding when we started going out to the cowboy church. That was kind of my whole life right there, was riding. Even after, I'd broken my leg in the 7th grade, and I'd just, grown, loved the adrenaline of it. And then high school, I was busy. I was working all the time. I worked 2 jobs minimum, sometimes 3, just because I loved having my money. I was super independent. I'd bought 1 vehicle my junior year. My grandparents helped me buy that and put me on their insurance. And then my senior year, second semester, had plans on going to college 4 hours away and needed a new car. And so my grandpa took me and co-signed on a loan. And I don't know, like high school was rough as far as just like I didn't have, because my mom and stepdad didn't get married until I graduated. They got married 2 months after I graduated. And so it was hard because like everything that you like went to, you got 2 tickets for. Well, my mom obviously went, and then I was stuck between like choosing through all these people that have been there and have stepped up in my life. And it was just kind of weird having to show up when everybody else had their mom and dad, and I just had my mom and most of the time my aunt.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet that was hard, especially when you didn't have an option for more tickets or whatever that was.
Yeah.
So growing up without your dad around, so you said you were 8 when he was imprisoned, and then he'll be getting out about a year from now?
Roughly, yeah. He'll be going to a halfway house about a year from now.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to do once you're able to see him? Will you try to spend more time with him, get to know him? Because you really probably don't know him.
No, we've talked on the phone and stuff, but a phone call doesn't replace being actually present. I've been hurt a whole lot, and but luckily I do have the opportunity to like give a second chance. Now, if you would have asked me that a couple years ago, I probably would have had a completely different answer.
Yeah.
But I've really went on this journey of forgiveness over the last couple years, and have tried to like switch my mind around. And instead of just holding on to this grudge that has made me so miserable since I was 8 years old, like I'm going to give him a second chance, and I'm going to hope and pray that like this was the last time.
Yes.
And luckily, like I'm seeing it right now in my brother. I mean, he's been out for a couple months now, and just he is like blown it away. He wants to go to church. He wants to dig into the word. He wants to do all of these things. He wants to stay busy. He's wanting to stay out of trouble. And so I'm hoping, like, obviously my brother still sticks with that, and I'm hoping my dad also follows in those steps.
Yes. Well, and hopefully they can be an encouragement to each other. That brother's younger than you, right?
No, he's 18 months older than I am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say to someone that's going through that right now, as far as not really, and it could be that their parents not even in prison, that they're just not in their life?
Well, my thing is just to find your village. Unfortunately, especially in today's world, a lot of families don't even have that. And I was so fortunate enough to grow up in a place where I had so many people that loved me and cared for me. And, like, find those people that just want to invest in you, even if it's like your friend's parents. I've been even more fortunate to have wonderful friends that had wonderful parents that have taken me in. And most of them friends had moms and dads. And so, like, I really admired their dad because I was always like another kid.
Right.
And even to their mom, too. So I think it's important to find those people that genuinely care about you and want to see you succeed and want you to, like, do good and be good and break those curses, and, like, don't be like the past generations. Another thing is like, you've seen when it's done. Don't keep reliving the wheel.
Right. Because
eventually you're going to have kids, and then those kids are going to go through the exact same thing that you've gone through your entire life.
Right.
So I try not to follow in the same footsteps as either one of my parents.
Right. Well, and we can't control what everyone else does, you know, and we for sure don't need to dwell on that, because that can consume us. You know, if there is somebody in our life that we wish they were in our life, but they're not, we can be consumed by that, and that's all we think about, right? So we need to turn, like you said, turn to those people that are in your life. And because those people can be your family. They may not be your biological family, but they can certainly be as close as family can be, or even closer.
Yeah. And I think back to the times, like, my mom obviously had boyfriends and stuff growing up, and most of them I absolutely hated for the most part. I actually hated her husband for a long time before I actually tore the wall down, just because I'd been hurt so many times. And so even in those times where I felt like I had nobody, because I dealt with the bullying in high school. I dealt with wanting to fit in so bad, but being so scared I was going to follow in the steps of others. And I was always the kid where if alcohol was brought up, I was calling my mom to come get me. But I mean, I got into cussing and drama and all those things. Even though I didn't do alcohol and stuff, I still wasn't living, a perfect life. I wasn't. Nobody's perfect. But even now, when there are moments that I feel the farthest away from God, I can always call on him just for comfort. And it's he just puts his hand on me and it's it's okay. And even when I'm sad or I'm homesick or whatever, even if I don't go to church every Sunday, even if I'm not diving into the word like I should be, he's always there. He was always the father that I always longed for. And God proved that at a very young age.
Wow, that's really neat. Because a lot of people don't do that. They don't turn to him. They're looking for earthly comfort in an earthly father. And sometimes that's just not going to happen because of different circumstances. But yes, God the Father, he's better than any earthly father could ever be. And it is good for us to turn to him. So how was it? So your parents were probably a lot of drugs, alcohol. How was it being around that at a young age? Because you were probably younger when you were exposed to those things.
Luckily, I never got to see either parent in active addiction. My father probably was in active addiction at the time, but I was so young I didn't know. I was never brought around drugs. They were never forced upon me, nothing like that. I've never seen my mom in active addiction. She was an addict before she got pregnant with me. She got clean long enough for her pregnancy. She started doing, got back on after and got clean, and that's been 21 years ago. So without telling a little her story, which I'm so proud of her, she's really been my biggest cheerleader and sharing my testimony and everything I've gone through. Luckily, I didn't have to see any of it, hands-on. Just had to deal with the consequences of it.
Right. Well, that's good, because I'm sure that could have had some negative effects on you. But for some people too, that also can be a positive effect because they know they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of people will turn to doing those same things, even though at one point they may not ever have wanted to do that. At some point, they might turn to doing that.
Yeah, and that really sucks, and it's really sad. I've read the stories 1,000 times about the siblings that were brought up the exact same way and turned, led different or lived different lives. And what the difference is me, my brother Buddy, and my brother Dylan, none of us were raised the exact same way. And so it's kind of hard to relate to that. And just because I know, my aunt and uncle, they did an amazing job raising me. My grandparents had the biggest hand in raising my oldest brother. And then my other aunt, she was really big in raising Dylan. And so none of us were raised the same way. We all had our own people outside of our mother. And it's we never really related to that. And me and Buddy growing up, we were always the goody two shoes, and Dylan was always the one getting in trouble. And so even my brothers, both of them have had their own struggles with addiction, and not get into their story or anything. But I'm very very proud that even though their path was a little bit different than mine, and they're getting back to where
right
they need to be. And so,
yeah, well, that's good. So after you graduated high school, well, let me ask you this. Was there a time that you gave your life to the Lord?
There was. I was, I don't even remember what age I was. It was at the Cowboy Church, and it was before they built their add-on. It was before they built the new building. Like, this was the first building we had built, and I was sitting in the back room, which is now the storage room, and Mr. Guy and Miss Beth were teaching our Wednesday night class, and a couple weeks have gone by, and they had been teaching, and it had been like tugging on my heart. Something had been, and I was like, what is this feeling? And I had gone to church my entire life, and I never understood it. But for some reason, Miss Beth gave the invitation that night, and I drank the Kool-Aid, and that night we went and talked to Brother Tracy and all the Sunday school teachers and stuff. And luckily, I had a majority of my family there by my side the day I got baptized. I got baptized on St. Patrick's Day, which is my great-grandfather's birthday, my Papa Red.
Oh.
And I don't know, I think it's so cool that I was baptized on St. Patrick's Day, because I was like, well, I'm lucky to be saved. But yeah, I gave my life to the Lord at a fairly young age. Obviously, there's been times, especially in college and stuff, where I really just wanted to fit in, or I felt like nothing I was doing was working. And I really got far away, but I always get reeled right back in. And most of the time, it's actually when people, I feel like I'm so far away, and then someone asks me to give my testimony, and I'm like, oh yeah. So then I get really deep into the Word again.
Yeah.
And I start feeling really good about myself and my walk with the Lord. And that's a constant struggle, obviously. Just being a busy college kid, it's so easy to get away and not necessarily doing bad things, just getting so caught up in studying and reading this book and writing this paper, or going to this club meeting. So
yeah, just those distractions. Satan loves that we get caught up in distractions, because it keeps us from being close to the Lord and doing, being in the Word, being close to Him. And so it is hard to do that. It is, you've really got to stay focused on what is important. Mm-hmm. And so you started college after you graduated high school.
Yes. I started down at SAU in Magnolia, 4 hours from home. My first year was great. I was so busy. I was an FFA state officer. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really get a college experience that first year. I didn't have time to do anything. Now that second year, it was rough. That's where I had been diagnosed with anxiety in high school. And I've always had it, even before all the big feelings started. Mm-hmm. And we've always just put a Band-Aid on it with chewable Pepto. I think the chalky taste of that tricked my brain. But in high school, it got really bad, where the point I was having panic attacks all the time. And so I got put on anxiety medicine. And then when I went to college, my first year was great. Had a few panic attacks here and there, just because different place, different time. Got my heart broken by a boy. So had to deal with that fight, mental fight. Started dating another boy, got my heart broken again. Then my sophomore year, first semester went pretty well. Came back with the same friends, same roommate. Me and the roommate started not getting along very well. She was great. We still talk, but we would live together for a year and a half, in a tiny box. So obviously we started butting heads. So I moved out into a dorm room by myself, got really depressed, wasn't sleeping, wasn't really engaging in alcohol, and never done drugs, nothing like that. But just was in a really dark place. And I was about to drop out, and I called my best friend Josie up, and I was like, hey, I don't know what I want to do. Obviously, I want to go to college. I want to get a degree. It's all I'm super smart. I can do it. But I don't think down here is a place for me. And she was like, well,
because that was what, 2 or 3 hours from home?
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yes, I was driving home every weekend. My mom was tired of sending me money. My aunt was tired of sending me money. everything. Because I was coming home every weekend, 4 hours, leaving on Thursday after class, coming back Sunday as late as I could come back. And super dark place. My mom actually got put in the hospital during that semester, and I skipped class and came up here to be with her because my stepdad is not a good nurse, and I knew that. And like, no one can take care of no one can take care of my mom the way I can take care of my mom. And so she told me, she's like, no, like, you stay down there. Like, I'm fine. It's fine. I'm like, no, I'm coming home. So I came home. My cousin passed away from brain cancer that semester. That was the semester of the tornado. I got to watch a house that I grew up in be torn away.
Oh, wow.
It was just a really, really bad semester. And so I called my friend Josie up and I was like, hey, girl, I think I'm going to drop out if someone doesn't give me another option. And she was like, okay, well, you know, A-State's got a new agriculture education professor, which that was my major. And she was like, she worked for National FFA. Like, she's great. And I was like, okay, I don't know about it. Because the whole point of not going to A-State was I didn't want to be like everyone else. I didn't want to be following the crowd of everybody going to A-State or Fayetteville. So I contemplated it, talked to my friend Maddie down there, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And she was like, I want you to stay, because like she lives 2.5 hours from here, almost 3 from Jonesboro. So I was like, okay. So we talked about it, and she was like, but I want you to be happy. And so I got on the phone and I transferred. It was one day, and just picked up the phone and was like, hey, like this all happened in a matter of just like 24, 48 hours.
Oh, wow.
Picked up the phone, called the professor, and I was like, hey, I would love to like talk to you. And so then she sent me a degree plan, and I went 2 years, met some of my best friends that I still talk to. My best friend Lucy, she actually came to win with me today, but she's hanging out with my mom. About a little over a year ago, her dad passed away. But it was a rough death. And honestly, I think growing up, or like the life that I've lived, where I didn't have the best dad. And so like there have been times where I've thought like, oh man, it would be better like if he was dead, or it would be better if, blah, blah, like I never knew him or anything like that. But like Lucy, on the other hand, like she had a great dad. So it's like opposite. Like, and so we've kind of like worked with each other a lot this last year to really, like, we bond over that really well. And so like when we're both having a bad day, or one of us is having a bad day, like we don't even have to say anything. We just immediately like can cheer each other up.
So what was your major for your bachelor's degree?
Agriculture education.
Okay. And then you're getting your master's?
Also in agriculture education.
So what do you want to do after you complete your education?
I want to teach high school agriculture. And I could have went into the classroom after I graduated in May. Unfortunately, it wasn't God's plan for me to go in the classroom. And another thing that I really struggled with was I've been in school for 4 years now. Like, I've been patient. Like, I need a job. But I got the opportunity to go back for free. I'm not having to pay a single thing.
Oh, wow.
And I'm getting to work under that professor. Her name's Dr. Crutchfield, and she sends me texts all the time. She's like, you need to come to this. Like, there'll be godly men there. And so she has become more than a professor. She's like a parent, or if I'm having a bad day, she gave me a Bible study to do. She's really great. And I tell her all the time, I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't know. It was like when I got offered this opportunity, it was so good to pass up. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, for not giving me a job, actually.
He always knows best.
He does.
Yeah. And so you'll graduate you just started your master's, so you've got 2 years, right?
Yes, I'll graduate in May of 2027.
Yeah.
I'll go four regular semesters and then 1 summer term.
Right. Good. So, just hearing your story, because this is the first time that I've actually heard your testimony and your story. It seems like because of some of the people, maybe family members that you were around, you could have really ended up a different way, maybe been involved in drugs, alcohol, and some different things. But you really had people there for you that fill the place of those, your parents, more or less.
Yeah.
And led you down a different path.
And I've tried, the first time I shared my testimony, it was all like pity, poor me. And so I've tried switching like the perspective of it. Instead of like, oh, pity, poor me, like, I've had 2 addicts as parents. Like, yeah, it's sad. But it's also important that I had an aunt and uncle who I had my own room at their house. Like, that's where I lived because my mom moved in, obviously, with my stepdad when they got married. And my 2 younger siblings deserve to have their own room. And I don't want to share a room with a 13-year-old. And so, luckily, I have a place to call home, and I have a place to stay whenever I come and visit now. And I have wonderful grandparents that bought me pots and pans when I moved in because I didn't cook for 2 weeks. And it's like, I need some pots and pans. And like, I have my other aunt and her husband. When I had a wreck, like, I called and I was like, hey, bestie, I need a wrecker. And he was right there. And so I've had such a great, like, especially on my mom's side and my dad's side, my Aunt Darlene. Anytime I've ever called her and needed something, or if I needed to work to make some extra money, or needed this or needed that, like, she's always, when my computer broke my sophomore year of college, she didn't hesitate to send me what I needed to get a new one. And then I think a lot now that I want to shift it just because I have a nephew now. And obviously, with not going in too deep into his dad's story and my nephew's story, he's only 2, so he can't really tell a story right now. But he may want to tell it when he gets older. But my Aunt Debbie has custody of him, and she's done such an amazing job raising him. And I think back, like, oh, he is so much better off with her than he would have been with them. And that's also a lot of the reason why I shifted my perspective a whole lot over the last year or so that I've been sharing my testimony a lot more. My little nephew, he's my little pride and joy. And
he's cute. I haven't seen him it's been a few months since I've seen him, but he's, Darlene works right next door.
Yeah, I'm going over there after I leave here.
And so they're outside some playing and walking around and stuff. But he's got beautiful hair. I know that.
He needs a haircut. We talk about that all the time. But he won't let no one cut it.
Yeah. So, and because of what you've been through too, you're going to be more sensitive to people that are in the same situation. And I know a lot of those people that grew up like you might be thinking or might be going in that same path that their parents went into, in this case, being addicts. But thankfully you had people in your life that kept you from that, gave you a different life. But that's gonna make a big difference on you as you see people going through that, and you can reach them in a way that maybe no one else can, because you made it through that life. Even with your dad still in prison, you've made it through, and you survived all that, with the help of the Lord, I think. And he's just really had his hand on you, I can tell. And you seem very independent and working to make money, and that you need to rub that off on people in college, because so many people nowadays, they want everything handed to them and not really work for it. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, but there are people that do that. They're not really wanting to work for anything. And
I am thankful for my Aunt Darlene, who has instilled a work ethic on me like no other. I've worked for her since I was in like the 8th or 9th grade, and she makes me work for it. Now, there are times she just randomly is like, hey, here's $100, but most of the time she makes me work for it. And,
which is good.
She doesn't care to bend over backwards, for anybody that's willing to put in the work for it. And like in my senior year, when it was time for scholarships, she's like, you got to do this scholarship. Like, I just got it in from the chamber. You need to do it. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that is an amazing thing that like my dad's side of the family has offered me so much. My 2 younger brothers, me and my brother Xander, have gotten super close over this last summer. And so that's been great. Because I have, like, obviously I've known them, I've seen them, but I didn't spend the majority of my life with them, and they didn't spend the majority of their life with me. and then getting to hang out with my nephew all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That was my favorite part of the summer and the hardest thing to leave.
At least you're still pretty close.
Yeah, and I'm getting to see him grow up. And he's really helped my relationships because obviously there was hostility toward them too. It wasn't just hostility toward my dad. Mm-hmm. And he's helped bond so many relationships or fix so many relationships. And I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
He was like the blessing in disguise. Obviously, we did
a little baby.
Yeah.
It's men in relationships, and that's really neat.
We didn't want my little brother, obviously, to have a kid.
Yeah.
But this kid, he has healed, I think, every inch of like the childhood trauma that I've ever gone through.
Wow.
It's like when I walk in here in a little bit, he's going to go, Sissy, and run up and give me a hug, and it's going to just melt my little heart.
Oh, that's so sweet. So, Allysa, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Well, and I got 2 years left on my master's. I'm hoping I find me a good man somewhere in the mix of all this. I thought I had one, but it didn't work.
Not the one.
Not the one. But I hope I find me a good man in the mix of all this, someone who, even if they've gone through some of the same stuff I've gone through, that wants exactly that. I just want to find someone that isn't going to put my kids through what I went through.
Mm-hmm. Your future kids.
Yeah, my future kids. I don't have kids right now. So that's my goal. But.
And so working at a school,
yes, a high school somewhere. And then eventually I do want to go back and get my PhD or EDD and go and teach college. I want to teach teachers how to teach. I think that most of my impact will be made there. Mm-hmm. And because I want to be just like my college professor. I had great ag teachers in high school. And so I feel like I can start there, get those high school kids, because I love helping. I help at Christian Wrangler Camp every summer. And
some of those high school kids, they're probably going through the same things mm-hmm. that you grew up around, and you can certainly help them in their walk where they are.
For sure. And I really didn't even realize, because growing up, obviously, I thought it was normal at first. Then when I went to my friends' houses and realized it wasn't normal, mm-hmm. I was like, man, I'm really weird. No one else goes through this. Their parents may be divorced, but it was, they had both mom and dad in the picture. And so I didn't realize that how many kids didn't have mom and dad in the picture until I started subbing or until I started, I did my internship and mm-hmm. I've been in the classroom a little bit. And so it's been very important that I've been super intentional with my words, especially and around certain kids. But I am really excited to step into the classroom and be just another guiding force in mm-hmm. their lives. And it's not my goal just to teach them to pass a test. It's
to be a part of their life.
To be a part of their life, teach them employability skills, get them to graduation, because a lot of kids, that's not their goal is to mm-hmm. graduate. It's just to come to school and get a meal. Mm-hmm. And so if I can just offer a sense of peace and a sense of pride in their work, mm-hmm. I'm such a project-based learner. I can give them something that they can have pride in, mm-hmm. whether it be a skill in welding or anything like that. I think that's so important, just as important as teaching any math or science or English content.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be a wonderful teacher, and I know you're going to have a big impact on your students, it sounds like. So that's all exciting. Do you have anything else you want to share about your testimony?
I think that's about it. I don't really have nothing else.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. What is your favorite Bible verse?
My favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13. I had to learn it for church one day, and it was just a Bible verse that's gotten me through all my heart and all the hardest parts of my life. When I broke my leg, when my horse passed away, when I've lost all my friends, and some of the darkest moments, I've just whispered that verse to myself, and I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Thank you so much, Allysa.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Check out our website, thejourneytosalvation.com. You will find additional information as well as a way to connect to us.